Well, well, well. Look who it is. I don't even know why I'm doing this, but for some reason I thought you guys might like to know how to make some tortillas. Now, truth be told, I don't normally use this powdered mix, but I assume that most of you guys don't have the proper equipment that it takes to stone grind corn into tortillas and do that whole process. Maybe I'll show it to you sometime, but this is a pretty good alternative. This is definitely better than any pre-made tortilla you can buy in a grocery store. So this is just maseca. It only really has one ingredient, I think. Yeah, which is just dried corn. This is just corn that's been cooked and dehydrated and turned into a powder, and just add water. It's that easy, really. So I know there's a lot of videos on how to make tortillas, and I haven't watched all of them, but I'm sure they all have some good information in them. But I've made a ton of tortillas in a professional setting, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. So, and it took me a long time to like filter through all the information. So I'm just gonna do my best to show you how to make these tortillas, and I'll also show you a cheap little taco that you can make with them that's really easy and cheap, and you can get a lot of portions out of it. So, alright, listen. Alright, so I'm just going to use my little stand mixer here. You don't have to use this. You can use your hand in a mixing bowl. So you're literally just going to pour some in. There's some instructions on the back of this with a recipe. You can also follow that, and it works just fine. Alright, so you're going to pour a little bit of the maseca into your mixing bowl. Alright, so next, now here's the thing. A traditional tortilla, or what they call a table tortilla, it doesn't have any salt. And the reason it doesn't have any salt is because, sorry, I just had to go get some more salt there. The reason it doesn't have any salt is because, you know, a Mexican cook will tell you that the filling should have enough flavor to compensate for that. But regardless, nobody's going to crucify me for not following tradition, so I'm just going to add some salt. I could get technical with this. So I'm just turning it on the lowest setting here, which is stir. I've got the dough hook attachment, and I've got some warm water here, and I'm just going to kind of drizzle it in a little bit. Okay, drizzle it in, drizzle it in, drizzle it in. Alright, we can see it start coming together, but it's really dry. I'm going to add some more. And the great thing about the powdered mix is, if you accidentally put too much water in, just add a little bit more dry and you'll be good to go. So you can see that it's kind of like turned into a little ball. Let's check it here. I'm going to raise up the mixer. And yeah, that's feeling good. I mean, it might be slightly wet, but I do like for mine to be a little bit on the wet side. It just feels like the more moisture you're able to put in there, the more pliable it's going to be become. So let me see if I can focus this a little bit better for you. There. So, I mean, this might be a little bit wet, but we're going to let it rest for about 30 minutes also, so that it gives this dough a chance to kind of hydrate. But that's kind of what you're looking for. I mean, a lot of people might tell you that this is a little bit too wet, but it's clean enough to handle, and there's a little bit sticking to your hand, and that's just kind of like where I think your better results going to come. And right now, immediately, it's losing moisture. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but all right. All right, so the next thing that you want to do is to cover this dough and let it rest. I find it works best if you just cover it in like some saran wrap, or you could put it in like a Ziploc bag. But if you just like put saran wrap over the bowl that you mixed it in, it's still going to dry out a little bit because there's a lot of airspace in there. So you want to sort of, without overcomplicating it, just make a little airtight pouch. And you guys will probably crucify me for using that expensive knife on this marble, but anyways, this is a very important step, okay? Don't overlook this step. You can't just go from mixing it to making a ball, pressing out the tortilla, and cooking it. You'll get a tortilla, it's just gonna suck. And trust me, we're not resting this because there's any gluten in it. We're resting this because this dry powder, while it looks like it's hydrated right now, but it's really not. You really need time for that moisture that we added in the form of water to completely hydrate this powder, the maseca, okay? Because we want one smooth, pliable dough. Right now, it would work, but it's not the real thing. And what we're trying to do is recreate fresh ground corn masa, okay? As closely as we can with this powder. So we took our powder, we added some salt, which is again optional. We added some warm water. It could be warm, it could be hot. And that's important too. God damn, that fucking phone just like threw me completely off. Let's see who it is. Oh, my mom. No, perfect. Anyways, so yeah, I lost my train of thought. So we're trying to recreate fresh ground corn masa. Okay, so whenever you grind the corn, the stones rubbing together, the friction of the blade or the friction of the stones create heat, and it warms up the corn, and it releases some essential oils. So what I try to do is just recreate that process as closely as I can. Yes, we don't have the stones to fresh grind this corn. We didn't even start with corn, but I still can add warm water and give it that. I mean, you want this to be kind of warm to the touch, and it's also going to help that maseca hydrate a little bit better. So yeah, I'll check back with you guys in about 30 minutes. So, you can cut corners if you want, but you can let this rest from 30 minutes all the way up to 12 hours or really more at room temperature. I really wouldn't advise putting it in the refrigerator. I think if you're just doing this at home, it's so easy to mix it. There's really no need to. You can do this. You can mix this before you go to work, before you leave for the day, and come back, and it's going to be completely fine. As long as you got it wrapped up at room temperature, you're golden. Once you chill it, it does change textures, and it's really hard to get back to this nice, warm, pliable dough. It's going to be really easy to work with, and it's going to achieve some really great results. So, see you in a little bit. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of prep here for the taco. Damn, this fucking knife is dull. I'm not even going to peel the potato because I don't really care. I'm eating at home. So just cut it into little pieces like this. And then what I like to do is just really kind of cut it into large cubes. Don't want them to be too fine. They just kind of like get lost in the taco. This is going to be a chorizo and potato taco. I'm gonna add some egg because I like that. You could add a lot of different things. You could add crema, you could add avocado, whatever. There's really no bad way to do it. So I'm just gonna dice these, put them straight in some water. I told myself this was gonna be a fun video, and it's gonna be a fun video, okay? It's not gonna be boring. So here's a white onion. I usually dice it, but for some reason right now, this one's just kind of petite and nice. I really just want to peel it. This knife is super dull that I'm using, but I just want to peel it and slice it into rings. So that's kind of like how I like to cook. I don't really, just kind of go with a basic plan, and then it just evolves, yeah, I know. So I worked for a chef, and he always used to say, what does the ingredient want? And I feel like if I was listening to this ingredient, this onion would say, cut me in rings. Damn, lift it up. But regardless, with these onions, we go rinse them. So, I mean, look, onions are delicious. I like them raw, I like them cooked, I like them a million different ways. But when we're talking about a taco, I want to rinse the onions because they'll just overtake everything else, you know? It's all about balance. So I'm just gonna like leave these in the water for a little bit. No real particular time, but it's just cold water, and that's gonna rinse off some of that astringency and bring out more of the sweet notes, which I enjoy in this taco. All right, so here we go. I'm making the tortillas. Let me see if I can. Production quality is really low, but I feel like information is pretty good that I give, so we'll see what happens here. All right. So, all right, so this skillet is on medium heat. It's been heating up for, I don't know, probably like 10 minutes. You want it to be exactly at medium, okay? It's going to vary a little bit, but a good rule of thumb is 30, 30, 30. So 30 seconds on the first side, 30 seconds on the second side, 30 seconds back over on the original side. But what I really like to do, and you don't have to use your hands, you can use a spatula. As soon as I can flip it, I want to flip it, okay? And then I've just have like developed an internal clock of like 30 seconds. So I don't know, you could like time this if you want, but 30, 30, 30, okay? And I used to get kind of freaked out if whenever I flip it back over that it has these little cracks on it. That's completely fine. Like, that's not a big deal at all. Because once they steam, I'm going to show you in a second how they steam. They're completely fine. So we'll let that go for another few seconds. Then I'm going to flip it over, and it's guaranteed to puff because I followed my steps. And just to talk about the puff, um, you know, there's a lot of things that goes into it, but that's what you really want to see. That's what a properly cooked tortilla is going to do. It's going to separate the layers. It's going to souffle and puff up, and then you really know that all of that masa dough is getting cooked throughout the tortilla. It's got some beautiful color on it, which I love. And check this out. Right here, remember I was talking about the microwave setup that I have earlier? Here, check this out. So, let me zoom out. So, I know the microwave's dirty AF, but it's okay. So you can just put that tortilla there and then tuck it back in. And then we can make another one. And it's really, really, really that easy. That part is so important. You don't just want to like throw your tortilla down into the pan. Because honestly, there's something about like throwing it on there. It just makes it stick. And you're going to make a mess every single time. So just lay it down gently, even if you have to use both hands. That's still completely fine. But you can watch the edges. They're just now starting to curl up a little bit, so I know that I'm going to be able to easily flip my tortilla. And it's just such an incredibly easy process. It just takes practice. Just know that the first time you do this, it's not going to be perfect. If you follow these steps, it can be really, really good. It can still come out great. But, you know, you just got to do it. You got to practice. The first time you do something is rarely going to be the best. And if you nail it the first time, then you just don't have anything else to work on. So, watching the souffle. It's just so nice. I like to kind of get mine a little bit charred just because I enjoy the flavor. Perfect. These tortillas are just absolutely perfect. You're not going to get anything better. Let's eat. Chorizo, potato, egg, I like a lot of cilantro on mine. Get that light focused in on me here. All right, this is it. Moment of truth. It just doesn't get any better. This tortilla is not ripping, it's not cracking, it's not falling apart. This was done proper. I'm gonna enjoy this taco. Maybe I'll see y'all next time.